The view from the car window was a blur of generic cityscape. Ethan stared at the passing office towers and chain coffee shops, his mind a numb, foggy void. A dull throb pulsed behind his eyes, anchored by the thick bandages wrapped around his head. Everything was wrong. The scent of the car's leather interior, the feel of his own clothes against his skin. It was all familiar yet utterly disconnected. He glanced at the man in the driver's seat. Declan. The name floated up from some fractured place. Declan, with his sharp, handsome features and a mouth that usually curled in a way that made Ethan's blood heat with competition. Not whatever this was. Declan's left hand rested casually on the steering wheel. A simple platinum band caught the afternoon light. Ethan's own hand felt bare. He flexed his fingers. Who's the unlucky bastard? He heard himself say, the words dry and automatic. He nodded toward the ring. Declan's gaze flicked to him, then back to the road. A strange, unreadable expression passed over his face. There and gone. What? The ring. Who was desperate enough to marry you? Declan was quiet for a long moment. Ethan watched his profile, the line of his jaw tightening almost imperceptibly. He looked tired. Someone with a high tolerance for pain, I guess, Declan finally said, his voice light but edged with something else. Don't worry about it. It's not you. A ridiculous, hollow ache bloomed in Ethan's chest. When did this happen? 4 years ago. Ethan frowned, trying to pierce the fog. 4 years ago. That was impossible. His memory ended in a haze of final exams and the looming, undefined future after graduation. Declan was his rival. His opposite. The one person he was constantly, infuriatingly aware of. The idea of him being married, settled, was absurd. What was I doing then? The question felt vital. Declan turned to him, a slow, dazzling smile spreading across his face. It was a smile Ethan had seen before, usually right before Declan pulled off some spectacularly annoying victory. You were very generous. Gave me a huge congratulatory check. The statement rang utterly false. Ethan looked away, out at the monotonous suburban streets they were now passing. No, I didn't. The certainty was instinctive, bone deep. He wouldn't have. If anything, the old Ethan, the one trapped just beyond the fog, would have been more likely to spike the wedding punch. The thought brought no satisfaction, only a deeper sense of dislocation. Why did the idea of Declan marrying someone else make him feel so abandoned? He was so lost in the bleak spiral he didn't notice Declan reaching over. Cool fingers pinched his cheek, a startling, intimate gesture. Come on, Declan said, his voice softening. Let's go home. Home. The word sparked a pathetic flicker of hope. Did that mean? As if reading his mind, Declan continued, his tone shifting to one of mild, almost clinical sympathy. You know about your family's situation, right? The bankruptcy? Ethan froze. The world, already unsteady, seemed to tilt on its axis. What? The Ashton family assets. All gone. Poof. Declan made a vague gesture with one hand. It's been all over the financial blogs. You've been staying with me, helping out, until you get back on your feet. A cold wave of nausea washed over him. It explained the strange clothes, the hollow feeling in his pockets where a wallet and phone should be. It explained why he was with Declan, of all people. A charity case. He fumbled for his phone. A cheap, unfamiliar model, and with trembling fingers called his mother. Her voice, when she answered, was thick with a worry that felt genuine. Ethan, honey, how are you feeling? Mom, is it true? About the company? A heavy sigh traveled through the line. Oh, sweetheart, we didn't want you to worry while you were recovering. Yes, it's true. We lost everything. Thank God for Declan. The line went quiet for a beat. You listened to him, okay? He's been so good to you. The phone slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor mat. The last anchor had snapped. He was adrift. Ethan Ashton, who had never known a day of want, who had defined himself by his ambition and capability, was nothing. A burden. So he managed, his voice rough. "What do I do for you?" Declan seemed to consider this, tapping a finger on the wheel. "Oh, the usual. Laundry, cooking, keeping the place tidy." A slight, mischievous pause. "Sometimes I need my feet rubbed after a long day." Ethan recoiled, turning fully to stare out the window. Humiliation burned through the shock, hot and bright. He could feel Declan's gaze on him, could almost sense the suppressed energy vibrating in the seat beside him. He closed his eyes, willing the world to make sense. The house was a sleek, modern structure in one of the city's older, moneyed neighborhoods. It felt like Declan. All clean lines, expensive art, and a faint, lingering scent of sandalwood and citrus that was uniquely his. Ethan stood in the grand foyer, feeling like a stain on the polished concrete floor. Declan vanished into a home office, muttering about paperwork. Ethan wandered, a ghost in a familiar yet alien space. He found himself drawn to a bedroom at the end of the hall. The master suite. The door was ajar. Pushing it open, the scent hit him first. It was stronger here, that crisp, clean Declan scent, but layered underneath it was something else. Something warm, earthy, and undeniably familiar. His own. His heart began a slow, heavy thud. On a low dresser next to a tray of cufflinks lay a pair of silk pajamas. He recognized the pattern, faintly faded. He'd had them since college. "What are you doing in here?"
"Etan spoon."
Declan leaned in the doorway, arms crossed. His expression was unreadable. "These are mine," Ethan said, holding up the pajama top, his voice barely above a whisper. "Why are my things in your room?" He took a step closer, the conflicting scents swirling around him. "And this smell, it's my scent. All over this room." Declan didn't move. He just watched him, a strange intensity in his dark eyes. Then, he pushed off the doorframe and walked forward, closing the distance between them. Ethan stood his ground, a flush creeping up his neck as Declan's fingers closed lightly on the collar of his shirt. "You're married," Ethan stated, the words tasting of ash. "I am. Then why?" He couldn't finish the question. Declan's proximity was overwhelming, short-circuiting his already fried nerves. Declan's smile was slow and dangerous. He leaned in, his breath warm against Ethan's ear. "My husband travels extensively, and Omega's biology isn't always convenient. Sometimes needs have to be met." The implication slammed into Ethan, leaving him breathless. The room seemed to shrink. "So I'm what? Your affair?" The term felt too romantic, too mutual. A colder, uglier word surfaced. "Your plaything?" Declan opened his mouth, perhaps to deflect, but something in Ethan's expression must have stopped him. Ethan looked down, the weight of his new reality. Bankrupt, dependent, now this crushing down. A strange, protective numbness settled over the humiliation. "A plaything is fine," he heard himself say, the words flat. "It's a role. I understand my position." He expected derision. He expected Declan to laugh at his pathetic acceptance. He did not expect the strong arms that suddenly wrapped around him, pulling him into a hard, unyielding embrace. He certainly didn't expect the kiss. It wasn't gentle. It was a claim, fierce and desperate, a battle for dominance Ethan had no strength to fight. Declan's tongue swept into his mouth, and a traitorous heat exploded in Ethan's gut. It was familiar, this fire between them, a dark, hungry thread that had always hummed beneath their rivalry. His body remembered even if his mind didn't. With a broken sound, he surrendered, his hands fisting in the back of Declan's shirt as he was walked backward toward the vast bed. Clothes were a forgotten barrier. Skin met skin. Declan was relentless, mapping Ethan's body with hands and mouth, reigniting a connection that felt frighteningly deep. Ethan arched into the touch, lost in a haze of sensation. The worries about money and status burned away by a more primal need. Then, Declan stilled above him. Ethan whimpered, forcing his eyes open. Declan was staring at the side of his neck, his expression one of stunned reverence. His fingers traced a spot there, a sensitive patch of skin Ethan had never paid much mind. "This is mine," Declan whispered, awed. "Yeah," Ethan gasped, the game, the fiction, momentarily forgotten. He can't see that. You're being reckless." Something dark and possessive flashed in Declan's eyes. The careful control snapped. He drove into Ethan again, his movements turning punishing, a frantic, jealous rhythm. His teeth grazed the claiming mark. "Do you like this?" He growled, the words hot against Ethan's skin. "Tell me, who's better, him or me? Say it." Ethan cried out, his mind fracturing under the dual assault of pleasure and a confusion so profound it bordered on pain. How could he answer? The him and me were the same person, a paradox his addled brain couldn't solve. As consciousness began to slip away, he felt himself being gathered close, held tightly against a sweat-slicked chest. A ragged voice murmured into his hair, laced with a sorrow that cut deeper than any physical touch. Why him? Why not me? Ethan, in the last vestige of awareness, did what felt natural. He nuzzled into the solid warmth, seeking comfort, his lips brushing a collarbone. Husband, the body holding him went completely rigid. Morning light streamed through the blinds. Ethan reached out, seeking warmth, and found only cool, empty sheets. A jolt of panic brought him fully awake. He sat up, the events of the previous night crashing back with brutal clarity. The bedroom was empty. He threw on clothes and hurried downstairs. The sight in the kitchen stopped him in the doorway. Declan sat at the breakfast nook, reading a tablet. Ethan was at the counter, clumsily arranging a plate of toast and fruit. The normalcy of it was surreal. Declan looked up, a lazy, satisfied smile on his face. He patted the seat beside him. "Join us." Ethan approached slowly. He took the offered seat, his movements stiff. The domestic scene, with him in the role of the helpful, whatever he was, felt more degrading than the passion of the night before. He picked at the food, his appetite gone. Midway through the silent meal, a thought seemed to strike him. He looked at Declan, his expression painfully earnest. "Your husband, is it Leo?" Declan choked on his orange juice. He coughed, recovering quickly, but the brief loss of composure was telling. He wiped his mouth, not meeting Ethan's eyes. "What makes you say that?" Ethan just stared, the pieces clicking into a miserable picture. Leo Finch, the upperclassman who had been all gentle smiles and easy patience, the antithesis of the competitive storm that was Declan. Of course, it made a terrible kind of sense. The perfect, considerate partner for someone who wanted peace. The ache in his chest sharpened. "I see," he said softly, looking down at his plate. "I understand." Declan watched him, a flicker of something like guilt crossing his features. "Ethan, it's fine," Ethan interrupted, his voice hollow. He pushed his plate away and stood, adopting a posture of tragic dignity. "I know my place. I have no right to feel anything. I'm the other man. I'm aware." He turned and walked toward the sink, a picture of stoic acceptance. Declan opened his mouth, then closed it, a strange mix of amusement and what might have been genuine concern in his eyes. The mention of Leo proved prophetic. A week later, Declan came home, his demeanor unusually pensive. "Ran into an old friend today. Leo Finch. He's back in the city heading up a tech team. Wants to have dinner." Ethan, who was folding laundry, felt his blood run cold. The test had arrived. The restaurant was all soft lighting and murmured conversations. Leo had indeed changed, the boyish softness refined into a polished, cosmopolitan elegance. He greeted Declan with warm familiarity, his gaze lingering a moment too long on Ethan, who stood slightly behind Declan, playing his part. Throughout the meal, Ethan watched. He watched the easy way Leo spoke to Declan, the shared history in their glances. A corrosive jealousy, hot and unwelcome, twisted in his gut. He was an imposter at this table, a shadow. When the menus came, Leo ordered first, suggesting a spicy shrimp dish he remembered Declan liking. Ethan's head snapped up. He doesn't eat spicy food anymore. It irritates his stomach. The table went quiet. Leo blinked, taken aback. Declan looked stunned. I apologize, Leo said carefully, his eyes darting between them. I wasn't aware. So you don't know what he's been through? Ethan pressed, the words tumbling out, fueled by a desperate, misplaced sense of protectiveness. In his mind, Declan was a neglected spouse, suffering in silence. You've been overseas building your career while he's been here alone. Do you have any idea how hard it's been for him? Leo's polite mask slipped completely, revealing pure bewilderment. He looked to Declan for help, but Declan was busy hiding a smile behind his water glass. Ethan, misinterpreting Leo's confusion as guilt, felt a surge of defiant righteousness. He reached over, fussing with Declan's napkin, gently wiping a non-existent speck from his lip. He needs someone who pays attention, Ethan stated, his chin lifted. Someone who's actually here. The rest of the dinner passed in a surreal bubble. Ethan performed the role of devoted, secretly triumphant interloper with a shocking lack of subtlety. Leo observed it all with the serene detachment of an anthropologist studying a bizarre ritual. Later, in the car going home, the bravado left Ethan. He slumped in the passenger seat. He doesn't even come home to you, he muttered, the jealousy now tinged with a real anger on Declan's behalf. Declan just hummed non-committally, focusing on the road. What's the point of him? Ethan burst out, frustration boiling over. What do you even see in him? Declan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, almost to himself, he never felt the need to compete with me. To always win. The words landed like a physical blow. Ethan remembered fragments, feelings, the drive to be better, faster, smarter than Declan Chase. It had been the core of their relationship. The reason they'd been constantly drawn together and violently repelled. He looked at Declan's profile, illuminated by the streetlights. A deep, shameful hurt welled up. You told me not to treat you like you were fragile, he whispered, the memory surfacing like a bubble from the deep. An argument on a soccer field long ago. Don't you dare go easy on me because I'm an Omega. I was just trying to respect you. Declan glanced at him, his expression unreadable. I wouldn't compete anymore, Ethan said, the promise feeling like a surrender of something fundamental. If you wanted me, I'd just be there. Would that be enough? The raw vulnerability in his own voice shocked him. He looked away, out the window, his cheeks burning. At home, the tension snapped. Declan pushed him onto the bed, his kisses a frantic blend of anger and desire. What does he have that I don't? He demanded between breaths, his hands roaming possessively. Tell me, is he stronger? He guided Ethan's hand down his own abdomen. Is he better? Ethan could only gasp, his body arching in familiar, helpless response. The competition, it seemed, had simply moved to a different, more primal arena. A few days later, they returned to the neurologist. The scan was clear. The residual swelling is almost gone, the doctor said cheerfully. Memory recall should be imminent. Any day now. A sharp, unexpected grief pierced Declan. He looked at Ethan, who was examining a model of the human brain in the corner, oblivious. The soft, lost, heartbreakingly earnest version of Ethan would vanish, replaced by the sharp, arrogant, infuriating man he'd married. Declan felt a profound sense of loss. He must have made a sound because Ethan turned. Bad news? He asked, his brow furrowed with concern. Declan shook his head, forcing a smile. No, it's good. It means your time as my secret won't last much longer. You'll be you again soon. Ethan's face fell. He crossed the room and pulled Declan into a tight embrace, burying his face in his neck. So when your husband comes back, you'll just send me away? His voice was muffled, thick with emotion. There won't be any room for me at all? Declan held him, his heart aching with the cruel irony of it. What did you say? Ethan just shook his head, holding on tighter, as if he could physically stop the inevitable tide of returning memory. The crisis point came during a live-streamed press conference for the new tech venture. Declan, polished and charismatic, fielded questions with ease. Toward the end, a reporter, playing to the public's fondness for their power couple image, asked about spousal support. And does your husband, the formidable Ethan Ashton, have any input on these bold strategic moves? Declan smiled, a genuine, unguarded expression that softened his features. Ethan's insight is invaluable. In business and in life. I rely on him more than he knows. He paused, the words coming from a place deeper than the scripted answer. I'm incredibly grateful for him. And I love him very much. The moment the cameras cut, a cold dread washed over him. He'd said it. To the world. He fumbled for his phone, seeing a flood of missed calls from their housekeeper. His blood turned to ice. Ethan was gone. He tore through the house, his mind racing. Not his parents. Not his friends. Then he knew. There was only one place. He found him in a small, neglected neighborhood park a few miles away, on a rusty swing that squeaked with every slight movement. In the gathering dusk, he looked heartbreakingly young and alone. Declan approached slowly, sinking to his haunches in front of the swing. He reached for Ethan's hands, which were clenched around the chains. Ethan pulled them away. Why did you come after me? Ethan's voice was raw. You don't have to leave him. You love him. I heard you say it. What am I to you? Just a convenient replacement? Something to use until he's back? A tear escaped, tracing a path through the dust on his cheek. You must have never cared about me at all. The pieces of the puzzle, the true puzzle of the last 4 years, finally locked into place for Declan. The piano lessons Ethan had started after Declan mentioned loving a particular concerto. The shared, unspoken decision to apply to the same elite university. The constant, furious orbit they'd maintained around each other. It hadn't been hatred. It had been a gravitational pull too strong to resist, disguised as antagonism. Ethan, Declan said, his own voice unsteady. He stood and gently cupped Ethan's face, forcing him to look up. All this time, you loved me? Even back then? More tears welled in Ethan's beautiful, anguished eyes. I can't anymore, he whispered, a sob breaking through. Don't you see? You don't want me. You never did. I don't know how to make it stop hurting. The sight of him, this proud, brilliant man brought so low by a love he believed was unrequited, shattered Declan's last pretense. He pulled Ethan up and into his arms, holding him as his body shook with silent tears. He carded his fingers through Ethan's hair, murmuring soothing nonsense. Come home with me, he whispered against his temple. Please, baby. Come home. Ethan looked up, his eyes red-rimmed and hopeless. It's not my home. Declan answered by kissing him, a kiss full of all the apologies and explanations he couldn't yet give. He kissed him until the despair began to melt into a different kind of heat, desperate and seeking. Then come to the car, he murmured, nipping at his lower lip. Let me take you home. Later, exhausted and tangled together in the back seat, Declan must have drifted off. He awoke to the sensation of being lifted, cradled against a strong, steady chest. He nuzzled into the familiar warmth, too spent to open his eyes, and was carried inside. Sunlight, sharp and clear, painted stripes across the bed. Declan stirred, stretching languidly. The body beside him was warm and solid. He smiled, turning to burrow into the comforting scent. Morning, he mumbled, voice rough with sleep. Good morning. The tone, clipped, amused, utterly in control, was a bucket of ice water. Declan's eyes flew open. Ethan was propped on one elbow, watching him. His expression was a masterpiece of smug, knowing tranquility. The vulnerability, the lost softness was gone. In its place was the sharp, intelligent, faintly arrogant gaze Declan knew so well. The man he'd married was back. Declan tried to scramble away, but an arm shot out, pinning him to the mattress. In a hurry? Ethan asked, his thumb stroking the sensitive skin of Declan's wrist. Afraid your husband might walk in and find his little secret? Declan's mind raced. Ethan, you remember. Enough, Ethan purred, leaning down. His nose traced the line of Declan's jaw. Enough to know you had quite a bit of fun while I was indisposed. He nipped at his earlobe. We'll be discussing that. At length. A thrill, equal parts fear and excitement, shot through Declan. The game had changed again. I was taking care of you. By telling me I was a bankrupt manservant who gave foot rubs? Ethan's laughter was a low, rich sound. And let's not forget the part where I was apparently pining for you since my undergraduate days. You must be so proud. Declan flushed. Well, you were. Buying that stupid grand piano after I mentioned I liked it. Following me to Stanford when you wanted to go to MIT. Ethan's smirk faltered, a hint of color touching his own cheeks. Shut up. You loved me, Declan insisted, pushing himself up. All that time you were just too stubborn to say it. Ethan looked away, a muscle ticking in his jaw. You were infatuated with Leo Finch. Leo? Declan laughed, the sound genuine. God, no. He was safe. Easy. The opposite of you. He was the reason I finally got my head out of my ass. Ethan turned back, his gaze curious. Explain. The story came out, the heartbreak after Leo, not over the man himself, but over the feeling of being a discarded plan. The drunken, self-pitying night on the steps of the library. Ethan finding him. My love life is dead. And Ethan's cool, dismissive reply. So? I was so mad at you, Declan said, a smile playing on his lips. You were always so infuriatingly unaffected. I thought, I'll show him. I convinced my parents to propose a merger. A marriage. I thought it would horrify you. I thought you'd refuse, and I'd get to laugh at you for being so predictable. Ethan was watching him intently, the smugness gone, replaced by something softer. And then you said yes, Declan finished quietly. At the altar, I asked you why you didn't refuse. You said you wanted to make me miserable. He reached out, tracing the line of Declan's eyebrow. You whispered that you'd never let me go, even if I begged. And the officiant was talking about in sickness and in health right over it. I was terrified. And exhilarated. Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then he leaned forward, his forehead resting against Declan's. So I suppose we have Leo to thank in a twisted way. I suppose we do, Ethan conceded, his voice a low rumble. He pressed a kiss to Declan's lips, this one slow and deeply possessive, a reclamation. Now, about my missing 4 years, I believe you owe me some very detailed explanations. He moved to get up, the sheet pooling around his waist. The morning light gilded his shoulders, his back, turning his dark hair to bronze. Declan felt a surge of overwhelming fondness, a love that was now layered with shared history, both the real and the recently fabricated. He lunged, wrapping his arms around Ethan's waist from behind, holding him close. Wait, Declan said, a random, long-buried curiosity surfacing. That first week of freshman year. That cute biology major who asked for your number outside the lecture hall. Did you give it to him? Ethan turned his head, a slow, feline smile spreading across his face. He looked every bit the untouchable, brilliant man Declan had always chased. Wouldn't you like to know, he murmured, his eyes glinting with familiar, competitive fire. And in that moment, Declan knew with absolute certainty that the boy in the memory, bathed in California sun, had pointed directly at Declan's retreating back and said, that one. He's the reason I'm here.